everybody. How's it going, San Diego? Everyone's getting their tan on, looking good. Well, thank you so much for attending, and thank you for everyone who's tuning in remotely today. If you've had a chance to go to a San Diego Padres game recently at Petco Park, you've probably noticed there's a lot of ClickUp signage all around the stadium. But what you might not know is that the Padres actively use ClickUp to manage projects across multiple departments. I've had the opportunity to work with the Padres as their customer success manager, and I'm really excited to welcome Ray Chan, their VP of IT, to speak with us today about how ClickUp has improved their productivity. So Ray, could you come on out, please? Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So Ray, just to get started, I would love to share with the audience a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me today. It's such a beautiful day here in San Diego, and I have to say, I'm lucky to be a San Diego kid that grew up here in San Diego, Navy dad. So now I get to work for my favorite team growing up, the San Diego Padres, but really been in technology for quite a while now, worked for a lot of different industries, and found myself here with an opportunity to join the Padres over 10 years ago now, and thought it would be great to see what that's like to work in sports, joined the team, and found that, wow, there's quite a bit of technology that needs to be updated within the Padres, and it's a great opportunity for me to help kind of bring Petco Park back up to industry standards and innovate, within the organization. See what we can do to help the team win on the field through technology.
Yeah, you've already given me some great tips backstage as to some restaurants I should hit up. So anyone who's free after the conference, you can meet me outside. But I would love to hear a little bit about what this year has been like for the Padres as a whole as well. It's obviously been pretty monumental season for you, and opening the stadium back up after COVID restrictions have been dying down. What has that been like for you?
Wow, it's been a long year, and even outside of the baseball aspect of it right now, to your point, we reopened the ballpark right after the pandemic, and which is still ongoing. But start of the season, one of our first priorities was to try to open a super vaccinations center right outside the ballpark so that we can help to get folks vaccinated. So they leaned on us to help execute that in what we call our tailgate parking lot. And it was a big undertaking, obviously, to try to get a area there situated, get a lot of people, cars driving through, vaccinated. And we had guys and girls in our operations department really running this facility around the clock. So that was a challenge, and at the same time, we're trying to prepare for spring training. So it was exciting for us to reopen, simply because coming off of 2020, we made the postseason for the first time in quite a while, got through the first round, and really had an exciting team on the field that we built around. And I see that you're wearing your Padres jersey today. Fernando Tatis Jr., who's the face of our team, who's actually a finalist in the National League MVP race right now. So we're looking forward to seeing that result. But he helped lead the way during that postseason run in 2020. So lots of expectations heading into the season. And with the Padres, looking like contenders, we did reopen to 20%, safely got people into the ballpark. Again, a lot of planning going behind that. And although we did fall short of our main goal this year to win a World Series, we had the foundation as a team to really be contending every year going forward. And in turn, the fans came out. They came out in force. We were third in the league in attendance, and that's considering the restrictions that we have here in San Diego. So obviously the community is very excited, and we have an ownership group that's excited to put this team on the field and to bring a championship home to San Diego.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've really loved learning more about when I've been working with the Padres is you have this perspective when you're going to the baseball game of kind of what goes into running this sort of operation, but there's so much more going on behind the scenes. I know that you obviously said you were involved in the vaccination center, and we're working with the IT team, but also event operations, ticket operations, facilities management. So there's so many moving parts that are happening on the back end, and you get the feeling that you do your job well when no one notices a lot of those pieces moving on in the back.
Absolutely. We always try to be like the ninjas of our organization, kind of working behind the scenes, right? But yeah, I think it really kind of become a main tool of ours in our portfolio of applications is ClickUp, helping us to run these events. Petco Park is not just a baseball park. It's basically the iconic park in San Diego that we have all sorts of events. We've had a couple of concerts this year. We have this facility that we kind of help run as well. But we don't do that without the right organizational people behind the scenes, as well as the tools that they use to make them successful. So at this point, I mentioned to you guys, I joined the Padres over 10 years ago, and it seems like right now we have a ballpark that happens to have a baseball team while all these other events are occurring at the same time. And every baseball game, in my mind, is a project, is an event that needs to be organized specifically. And it transforms the ballpark every single time. We have activations around a baseball game, and then once that baseball team is on the road, we have other activations that goes on in the ballpark as well. So each one of those, again, have to be managed accordingly, and ClickUp helps us do that.
Yeah. And I'm curious, what was your team setup like before COVID happened, and how did you work between the different departments compared to the transition to remote work now?
Yeah, I think a lot of us were very traditional. I mean, we've had tools in the background for a while now, whether it was Teams, Zoom, Slack. Not a whole lot of adoption for those tools. I think, obviously the one good thing that came out of the pandemic is kind of the adoption of some of these tools. And so prior to the shutdown, you'd have your traditional meetings. You'd have planning based on an Excel spreadsheet maybe, or a document, lots of emails going back and forth, multiple versions of the same document being attached, right? So then you got this big chain, your email servers are growing in size. To me, going to a hybrid model where you have stuff on premise as well as in the cloud, that was a success in my mind, because now people are able to work at least remotely, but they still were not optimized to use all the tools that was available to them. So yeah, it's almost kind of night and day. And obviously we run a ballpark, we have to be there most of the time when the ball game's going on, but when the team's not there, or like today, now we can work from anywhere. And our scouts who are already remote have gotten somewhat used to it. But I would say that we're even more connected today after the pandemic than we ever were before.
Yeah, I know a few things when I've had the opportunity to speak with some of the Padres teams that they said ClickUp has really helped with was, for one thing, kind of taking all of those manual sticky pad boards off the wall and into a digital environment. And they're spending hours a day filling in calendars on the wall. And I get the sense that using our different views or the form as an intake system has really improved productivity.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the one thing, right? ClickUp was very easy to roll out and implement, be able to basically use through whether your browser or through the app. It's really kind of, like I said, not only connect people, but get them on the same page and have real-time updates of what's happening throughout the project timeline. So take, for example, our operations department. We have a lot of moving parts during any given event. We have people that are not full-time workers all the time, but once they arrive, they need to know where they need to be, what they have to do. And so all they do is pull up their phone, they can see exactly what's been assigned to them, they can then acknowledge if those tasks have been done, and we're able to see that real time from our dashboards. Same thing with IT. We get a lot of requests, not just, hey, fix my computer or whatever, but we have real projects that we have to manage that have deadlines, timelines. We have to have milestones. And for us, it would always take a meeting to kind of update everybody. But now it's just a quick view on ClickUp, and now we're able to see what's going on. So we're just, in my mind, still scratching the surface of what ClickUp can do, but already it's transformed the way that we work efficiently, the way that we collaborate throughout the ballpark. And I can think of so many other use cases for all the other business units that we still have to touch, basically, and introduce them to ClickUp. So.
Yeah. I know that also your team has kind of a special situation because people are obviously on their feet, running around the stadium during the actual games. And the mobile app seems to have been a pretty great resource for those folks when they just need to kind of tick off tasks as they're running around. Can you speak a little bit more to what that workflow looks like on the mobile app?
Yeah, I mean, really, I think it's similar to what I mentioned earlier, where when you basically have workers that are not going to come into the office, but they're going to be in and around the ballpark, or maybe they're just kind of maybe working at a remote site like this, they'll come in, basically, they've been instructed, they've been trained to basically go first, open up that app. Just like how we come into the office today, those of us that use ClickUp, and once you fire up your system, once you open your browser, that ClickUp is already open. That's what we live by, that's what we look at, that's what we look to see, seek for guidance, basically, on a given workday. So from a mobile standpoint, yes, whether you're using a tablet, which we use a lot of around the ballpark, especially, for example, if you're in the engineering department and you have certain things you have to kind of repair or get done, you're not going to lug around, a tablet all the time. You got to fire up your company-issued phone, open up your ClickUp app, and pretty much all the instructions are there. And if you're not done with a particular job, you can leave notes on what else needs to be done. So then it can get reassigned if necessary, or you can bring in another resource at a given time. But all that, again, very easy UI, very simple workflow, and that's what we're doing right now with our mobile devices. Very cool.
One thing I've spoken a lot with the Padres about as well is the notion of ClickApps, because, of course, the IT team may want a lot of ClickApps enabled for their environment. And in case some of you folks aren't aware, a ClickApp is essentially a feature that can be turned on or off at the space level, so you can customize the level of complexity for your projects. So while IT might have all these ClickApps turned on, maybe event operations just needs a few simple features, and it really allows you to bring all of the teams in, even if they might not be as comfortable with project management software.
No, absolutely. And I think, when you look at the different levels of the organization, maybe, our CEO just wants to see what the project looked like. You can customize your view. You can take a look at a calendar view. You can look at a task view. It's, it doesn't have to be too complicated for a person who just, maybe just have read-only access. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the beauty of ClickUp is, it's a platform that can really transform a department based on the customizations that they see fit. For example, another one is our creative group. They created a form to basically take in requests for any kind of graphical elements that need to be created, videos that need to be produced. They can easily take samples, attach it to a given form, and then it goes right back to the requester. They can see that. They can then give feedback on additional changes that need to be made. So it's not just your typical, hey, I open up this big old project Gantt chart or this project view. It can be a form, and you can send a link, a URL to the people out there, and they can keep it as simple as possible. They don't have to see all the other stuff in the background. So I think that's a great start for our creative team today, and that by itself, this one tool is going to replace this other workflow tool that they've been using for years now. And for us, that's just a savings, right? I mean, not having to have multiple tools.
Yeah, that actually brings up an interesting point, because this market is very saturated with such a wide variety of options. When you're thinking about, for a really large org like the Padres, what you look for out of an ideal partnership with a software vendor like ClickUp, what were some of the things that you looked for, and why did you choose ClickUp?
Yeah, it's funny because even ahead of the Padres ClickUp partnership, we were evaluating different project management tools out there. We know that Microsoft, for example, and maybe I shouldn't have said the M word, has something, but it just wasn't what we were looking for, and we were actually evaluating ClickUp on our own. And really, we saw that, and then all of a sudden we hear that ClickUp is moving to San Diego. This all kind of organically happens. And the great thing about kind of where I'm at with the team is, I look at tools, I look at technology partnerships, and we're very forward-thinking when it comes to technology, and that's why we have other technology partners over the years come in. But they're not just things that land on my lap and they say, hey, IT, you got to use this thing. When we have a technology partner, they are essentially an extension of my department. We rely on them to help us become successful, to help us support the tool, and we try to champion that tool throughout the organization so people will also see what we see in the tool. So really, from the beginning of 2021, when we first really started using ClickUp, what I look for in the partnership is just an understanding and seeing what the innovations are within ClickUp that we can adapt to and we can utilize within our organization. So, I see that. I've seen the growth within the ClickUp company, but that's what I look for in a partner. I look for somebody that, like I said, is just, hey, you're part of the Padres IT department, and you're just kind of our ClickUp wing on that. So,
yeah. When you're thinking about rolling out a tool like this to so many different departments, do you have any advice for dealing with that change management piece and trying to get buy-in from some of those folks that may not be as excited about moving to a different solution?
Yeah, I think, being with the Padres, we're very agile in the way we move. And there are things sometimes that they roll out within departments that I have to kind of like jump in and say, wait, slow down, let's see what you're trying to do. But I think what really helps an organization is, again, having the leadership, at least in this case, maybe in the technology department, that can go to other departments and basically be an advocate for the tool. And really, the way that happens is you got to have use cases that are actually being in production, right? You need to be able to show them that, look, it really is transformative. We are using it today, and this is how it's helping us. And then what you slowly do is you start building up little meeting groups. You kind of then start doing brainstorming sessions, and you try to figure out within each department, what exactly can we do to improve your workflow? Where's your pain points today? You know what? Maybe ClickUp can help you with that. Let's take a look at that. And really being persistent with that kind of approach and showing them, hey, look, IT uses it, our operations department uses it, our engineering department uses it, now we have our creative group using it, our marketing group's looking at it, our community group is starting to look at it, and you almost feel like, you're the outsider looking in now. You got to get in on this somehow, because there is always a use case, I believe, in each department that ClickUp can help with and really help them to organize themselves a lot better. It's the 21st century, and I really do still see people using Excel to manage everything, and it just doesn't make any sense. And the only people that know about this is the person that creates the document. So there is no collaboration in that. So I think you need a couple of champions to kind of get the adoption rate. And honestly, like I mentioned earlier, the pandemic has changed things. People want to stay connected. They want to know what the best way to stay connected are and what the tools are to do that. This is a great opportunity to really increase adoption through that.
Absolutely. Definitely have had some light bulb moments with the Padres too. When I show them our CSV/Excel import, they just give me this huge spreadsheet, and I just show them, you can map that over into ClickUp in 2 seconds, and then it updates dynamically, and everyone can collaborate in it together. So that's been a huge, huge selling point. I also have had success with using our public templates. I'm not sure if any of you utilize those, but if you are a regular ClickUp user and you have a good handle on the tool, creating a quick mock-up for a colleague and just sending that public template link to them so they can plug it into their own ClickUp environment has been a really easy way to show the value and instantly show them how to solve that problem.
And that's what we appreciate with you guys is the willingness to be there to help us train our folks. we'll have the lunch and learns, and we'll make sure that ClickUp is included. We actually have meetings set up for tomorrow to try to get more people in front of ClickUp and help them understand that. And without that, it doesn't have to have doesn't have to be a true partnership per se or anything like that. But as a customer of ClickUp, that's what you get with them, the willingness for them to come out and really kind of help you onboard as quickly as possible. My guys have mentioned that they have homework from ClickUp sometimes. And so
Sorry about that.
No, it's all good, because that helps us to kind of illustrate what we're trying to do and what we need you guys to help us with.
Yeah, and it is definitely a partnership to change the way that you work, but I think we're already starting to see the fruits of that labor in transferring people into ClickUp.
Absolutely, absolutely. And hey, I think, there's a pathway there where I can get our baseball guys, our scouts, our coaches to find a great way to collaborate a little bit better through ClickUp.
Just kind of thinking ahead to the future and knowing that we're all a work in progress, where do you see the partnership between ClickUp and the Padres going in the next 1, 2, 3 years?
Yeah, I think, ClickUp is fast becoming that one tool. You guys have that slogan, the one app to rule them all. And I can see that really happening within our organization. I think, when you come to work for the Padres and you're given, your technology, whether it's a laptop, tablet, and the application set that we provide to our users, ClickUp is going to be that one tool, that foundational tool for us, where you're going to basically be able to, get your job done a lot quicker, a lot more efficiently. So I just, down the road 2, 3 years from now, like I said, I think it's just going to be one of those things where we're going to have so much more going on in that ballpark. I'm not sure how many people here know, but we're transforming the ballpark as we speak into a football field so that we can host a holiday bowl here every year. So that, it's not just a matter of, putting a couple of lines on the field. There's some construction going on right now. There's some enhancements going on. So ClickUp's going to help us manage all those different events going forward. And like I said, it's not just events, it's game day stuff. Every single time, we do all this work in the background, and we see our fans come into the ballpark, and it reminds us this is what we're here for, to bring those guys in, to give them a unique experience, and how do we manage that experience for them the best way we can. And ClickUp's going to help us do that for years to come.
Not sure if any of you guys have seen this, but Ray was also recently featured in a ClickUp commercial, which we display on loop in our office every day, so we all got to enjoy that. What was that experience like, filming that with our team at the stadium?
Well, you guys have such a great production team, creative team. I didn't know what to expect. I was kind of like, brand new to ClickUp, but we used it enough to kind of understand the gist of it, basically. But I worked with them for a couple of hours. They had me kind of walk around the ballpark that I'm familiar with, and they got some great shots, and had no idea that the video was going to be as readily available to everybody globally, I guess. But I got a lot of feedback on that, and they loved it. They loved it, and there's one story that I'll share with you. It was a baseball game against the Washington Nationals, and Max Scherzer was on the mound, and we were trailing, I think, by like 2 or 3 runs, and we brought up this young pitcher, last name Camarena, and there was a decision to be made. We had guys on base. We're losing the game. Should we substitute him off for a hitter? Instead, we let him bat, and essentially, bases loaded, and this rookie pitcher of ours hits a grand slam off of Max Scherzer, right? Max Scherzer is now with the hated Dodgers, so whatever. But he basically wins the game for us that night, runs around the field. Everybody's going bonkers. But because that's his first major league hit, and then also a grand slam, we got to get that ball. We got to get out of the stands, get that ball back to Camarena, because that's his ball. That's his memory. So our operations guy run out there. A couple of them go out there, and one of them, my buddy Ken, goes out there, and he doesn't really look like me, but then the fan is like, "Hey, are you that guy on the ClickUp commercial?" And then and they're like, and what's ClickUp, right? So even our fans that are not familiar with it yet are learning the brand, understanding the brand of ClickUp. And I thought that was just funny because I'm like, yeah, you don't even look like me, dude. And but I guess maybe that's what he sees. But the fact that ClickUp resonated with the fans who was so excited to catch a home run ball, and that's the first thing they say is, "Are you on a ClickUp commercial?" I guess the ClickUp commercial is effective. So, but, thanks for having me on that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I couldn't have ended this on a better note. Thank you so much for being with us, Ray, and it's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, and thank you guys for coming out.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Awesome. Thank you.